is CBS 11 News Now.
Hello once again, everyone joining us here on Facebook Live. This is News Now. This is our digital update. I'm Ken Molestino. We want to remind you we are coming to you live right now from our Fort Worth studios. And of course, we encourage you to participate in this Facebook Live. Send us your comments, your questions, and take part in this conversation. A couple of big stories that we are following for you today. Of course, the very big one. You may have seen this in our last broadcast here on Facebook. This huge apartment fire happening in North Dallas. There's some video of it from earlier today. We saw that fire crews were on the scene earlier. And we're told this was a 4-alarm fire that took place at an apartment complex near Abrams and Northwest Highway. That's where we find our Robbie Owens. Robbie is joining us over the phone. She is there on the scene with the very latest. Robbie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Ken. How are you this afternoon?
Great. Doing all right, Robbie. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us. I know you're getting ready for your live reports on the air, but we're looking at the video right now, and this just looks devastating. What do you know? What's going on down there?
It is. What we do, it can sometimes be easy to treat fires as something routine and mundane, but you really do have to stop and look at that devastation and realize that there's just not one or two, but there are literally like 24 families who, in the course of, a half an hour, have lost everything. Dallas Fire Rescue, a massive response. Some of the residents that we've spoken to are just complimenting them and talking about just how quickly they arrived on scene. But the wind today just already had a head start. Not as bad as it has been this week, but, with flames and wind, doesn't take much. By the time firefighters arrived, that fire had already gotten to the walls, gotten to the roof, and within minutes they were forced to take what they call a defensive posture, which was just to keep it from spreading even further. 24 units, we're told, destroyed. The American Red Cross is on scene, Ken, as they so often are, working with those folks. They haven't been able to tell me yet whether they're going to be able to find the space to put them up at vacant units here at this condominium complex, but they've moved them away from the smoke and flames now to just, try to help them manage, what's next for them after what's just such a huge loss for so many families.
Yeah, and Robbie, we were watching a live chopper video earlier when we saw a partial collapse of the side of one of those buildings, or the building, rather. I wanted to ask, is there any indication that any other nearby or an adjacent building may have also suffered damage, or is this, you think, all isolated to the one in question? Or is it too soon to tell?
Well, it appears at this point that it's isolated to one building, but as you get closer to the scene, there truly is so much smoke now as firefighters continue to pour water on that building that it's hard to see what has happened beyond the one that you see there having sustained just the heaviest losses. But Dallas Fire Rescue, at this point at least, telling us that it's confined to that one building, 24 units, about 46 people impacted here this afternoon.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Robbie, you made a point a little bit ago about how sometimes, these things are treated as a mundane fire, but really when you talk about the people that are involved, I mean, this really is just heartbreaking when you talk about the devastation. You made that point earlier, and folks on Facebook are already reacting to that, offering their prayers, sending the prayers to all their families. Obviously, we've got, for example, Lynette Edick, Robbie. She says, Lord God Almighty, please help the firefighters. We've got Shelley Mask asking for prayers. So obviously, to that point, Robbie, of just how devastating this is, we see the images first. We see the fire, we see the smoke, we see the firefighters, but obviously what we're seeing has a direct correlation to families. I mean, these are lives that we're talking about that are affected.
It is. It is.
So.
Fortunately, though, in spite of what you're seeing there and the devastation, the extent of that fire, we are told there were no injuries reported. We know we saw one woman being helped into an ambulance, perhaps just because of the smoke, is to give her some oxygen. But from what we have been told, no one transported, so no one injured. So fortunately, people were able to react quickly, get everyone out. I spoke to one gentleman who I asked him, was he able to save anything? And he said, no, I just grabbed my pets and started going door to door, knocking to make sure everyone got out, because he said it was really amazing how quickly the progression went from, I smell something, let me go see what it is, and then it was like smoke, fire, devastation.
Yeah, and it probably has something to do with Probably has a lot to do, like you said, with some of the winds that we've been seeing. We're going to check in with Anne Elise Parks in a bit. Robbie, before we let you go, Fanny C. Madison says good coverage, Robbie. So we certainly appreciate you relaying that information from the ground there. And a couple other folks, once again, sending prayers. Sherry Barton sending prayers from Louisiana. So, Robbie, thanks for chatting with us. We're going to visit with you 4 o'clock, right? You're going to have the latest on this on air?
Whatever
So we'll
you want, Ken, I'll be there.
We'll see you then. Robbie, thanks so much for chatting with us. So we appreciate it. All right, so that was Robbie Owens. You just heard the very latest on that fire that we've been monitoring coming out of Dallas. And of course, we are going to check in with her. There was another fire prior to this one, though, that I have to update you on. We're talking about a grass fire that happened out in Denton County. This one, we're being told now from a fire chief over at Denton County that this burned through 250 acres of land out there. And the cause of this was a construction worker's tool. This was confirmed earlier when we at noon, shortly after noon, we heard about this. We didn't know what the cause was, how big it was. It just looked massive. Of course, you can see the video there from Chopper 11. But again, 250 acres. This started as a result of a construction worker's tool. We can now confirm that for you. 30 units responded to this with over 100 firefighters working to put this out. And this all happened near the 10,000 block of Robeson Ranch Road out there in Denton. Denton County Fire, as well as Argyle Fire, put the fire out. So thank you very much to those guys. Great work out there. Tip of the hat. Nobody was hurt. And those firefighters did exactly what they had to do to keep this fire from spreading. So, Anne Elise Parks joining us now. You know, these fires, a lot of the reason I'm sure that that they're spreading the way that they do and they catch the way that they do and the way they become so large so quickly, some of the winds that we've been seeing, right?
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of ingredients. You've got the winds, winds that have been sustained 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusts, though, that have been 25 to 30 miles per hour. You've got the dry fuels in place, still watching drought conditions, especially north of I-30, so that's in place as well. Temperatures above average. So yeah, components are there certainly for these fires to spread quickly. And right now, still talking about those winds, 20 or so miles per hour sustained around Denton, where we were watching that large grass fire early on. All across the Metroplex, though, those sustained winds at least 15 miles per hour out of the south. So we've been talking about how dry it is. This is our updated look at the drought monitor. And just as you can see, it's that northern tier that's had the abnormally dry up to moderately dry. And as we check in around Montague County, you can see that's where we're seeing, at least here locally, the highest level on our drought monitor. Back around the Panhandle, they've got extreme drought. So yeah, we're still trying to catch up on rainfall from this season, Ken. And we're watching at least some rain chances soon. That's good news. We're watching some rain chances build tomorrow. But especially tomorrow night into early Saturday. Yeah,
those are some of the comments that are coming in right now. Monica Sauer saying no rain. Then she says we need rain.
We do.
We hear you.
We need rain. I'm with you.
Anne Elise is looking at it, and you know, just as soon as that stuff pops up, of course, you're going to let us know. Hey, Wesley Schaefer, I know you don't have your full forecast up, but let's just go ahead and Wesley Schaefer is asking, ready to hear what the chances of rain tomorrow night are in Arlington, Texas.
Arlington, Texas, yes.
We can give Wesley?
I'll give you a preview. We're going to really outline that in detail on our 4 o'clock news. But yeah, so tomorrow night after the evening is where those rain chances are going to ramp up back to the northwest and then move towards the Metroplex late tomorrow night, overnight, and into early Saturday morning. So I do think here around the Metroplex and especially east, we'll have the best shot to see the rain. I don't think everyone sees rain from this. So that's why we're going to show you, break it down and show you that zone that's expected to see it.
All right, cool. All right, well, let me see if we can get to a couple more comments here. Shelly Mass says, thank you, all fire and rescue and news reporters. Shelly, thank you for your comment, for being concerned, for all those involved, and for helping us spread this information and participating in this conversation. Rachel Ruiz Gomez also joining us here on Facebook. Rachel, we see you, we hear you. She says hello. Thanks so much for being with us. Folks, I think that's going to do it for now for this update. Again, remember that we are on air. We are obviously online here at Facebook Live. Check out all of our digital platforms, our website, cbsdfw.com. Wherever you look, we're going to be there. We're going to bring you the news as quickly as we can. But for right now, thank you very much for joining us for CBS 11 News Now. Talk to you soon.